Hello everyone, it's me, Jake, and if you're new to the channel, hello. I am Dr. Jake Edward Bretherick, and I have a doctorate in philosophy and mystical research specializing in pagan theology and philosophy, particularly after 1950. And and also I am a reverend father in the tradition of metaphysics from the International Metaphysical Ministry. So I am Father Bretherick and I am Dr. Bretherick. And I make videos about mythology, folklore, modern paganism, modern witch practice. I have books published, Goblin Grimoire, about working with goblins as spiritual mentors and companions in modern witchcraft, as well as a thesis about the afterlife across different religions and spiritualities, and a dissertation about healing magic across the centuries, and a short form essay about the etymology and cultural usage of the word warlock, of which I am. With all that out of the way, you saw the title of this video, The Witch's Road, from Agatha All Along, which is a Marvel Comics television series that you can watch on Disney Plus. If you're a witchy person, a magical person in this modern community, you've already heard of it, I'm sure. If you're on TikTok, I assume that it is probably overly used, like pretty much everything on TikTok. I'm not a TikTok fan. And although I was for a good couple of days, it got me. But then I had to let it go because it was ruining my attention span. And I was tired of seeing the same thing over and over. So, I digress. If you love it, that's great. But The Witch's Road is a song and an idea presented in the show Agatha All Along, and it has become immensely popular immediately, this idea of The Witch's Road. And I think that's a good thing. I've seen some public opinion in modern magic circles on the internet that are trying to invalidate covens and specific witches for using the Witch's Road song in their actual rituals and spells, and also by using the Witch's Road as an actual template for astral journeying, shadow work, things like that. And I just want to say that I think that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with adding things to spiritual practice. That is how spiritual practice evolves, stays relevant, and grows. We can see what happens when religions and spiritualities fight incorporating new ideas and new references. And one of those is, the Catholic Church, right? We can see how they've really struggled in recent decades to maintain the level of power that they've had in the years past, because they are becoming less and less relevant to today's youth and younger generations, because they don't adapt and change. Religion has to adapt and change, and witchcraft, all magical practices and systems, are no different. It ultimately doesn't matter if something comes from a fictional source for your spirituality, even if you are someone who is a theist and truly deeply believes in the presence of gods and spirits and the truth. If you believe in the truth of past witchcraft references and mores and ethics. What I mean by that is, if you're someone who assumes that every spell and ritual and influence and mythology in witchcraft that came before you is absolute truth, then you might believe that nothing that comes from the future on, or the present on, is factual unless it came from you yourself. And that's a very detrimental mindset. Also, I think that some people may be hesitant to incorporate something like the Witch's Road into their practice because they might think that it cheapens their practice, or that it invalidates it because it comes from a fictional source. and therefore isn't magical or truthful. I come from the mindset that so much of magic isn't external. I hope my camera keeps focus. It's kind of going crazy. Anyway, magic doesn't necessarily come from the external. It comes from internal. It comes from the power of our mind. Yes, I do believe that magic is also an external force. But so much of everything to do with spirituality and religion starts within here for us. And we make a whole agreements and truths and lies within here that we hold, as a template for how we live our lives and how we view our spirituality. So there's nothing wrong with taking something fictional and making it a truth for yourself. When it comes to something like a song, like let's not get crazy. So The Witch's Road could definitely be used as I said before, as some people are already doing, as a template for how you want to do astral journeying, creative visualizations, shadow work. As I said, The Witch's Road is perfect for shadow work. That's what The Witch's Road is in the show. It's a series of trials that are all shadow based. It's about you overcoming your fears and your angsts to achieve your desires. That is magic, and that is shadow work. And it laid it out beautifully, like facing your fears, facing difficult situations, recreating old situations and rewriting them. That's cognitive behavioral therapy right there. Which, by the way, you can book a session of that with me on my website, Alabama Magic, below, because I am a ordained and licensed minister, but also I am a licensed and certified CBT therapist. So, check that out. Anywho, that's my 2 cents on The Witch's Road. I love the show. I love the song in all of its versions. And I think the show did a great job of showing how something that is... Because even within... Spoiler alert. If you haven't watched the show, maybe don't finish this now. So you have your warning. But, even within the show, The Witch's Road is fake. It is a song that Agatha and her son created as a way of luring in other witches so that she could kill them. It's a long story. So it's fictional, but you see, as Agatha lives on through the centuries, it becomes lore. It becomes folklore. That's how a lot of folklore, we can presume, starts, and in some cases we can prove started. That's how myth, legends, lore is born most of the time. It is a story that someone created and gets passed around and added to and expanded, and we see that in the show. And what I think is beautiful too is that the character of Billy, or Wiccan, in the show, he has this magical ability to make things real, much like his mother, right, Wanda, the Scarlet Witch. He warps reality, so his desires become manifest in physical reality, which is like the ultimate magic. So he's taking something that is fictional and making it real. He made it real. He created like a pocket dimension where the Witch's Road was real and had real consequences because characters died on the Witch's Road. So it was real. It was made real. Anywho, I just wanted to throw that out there, You can certainly incorporate the song and the lore of the Witch's Road into your practice. I already have. By the way, that idea of the Witch's Road, there's no reference to it outside of Marvel Comics, like in real folklore, that I've ever been able to find. It comes back from, I think the 80s, maybe the 90s, but I think it was the 80s, 1980s Scarlet Witch comic. So, Marvel themselves have had that lore around for a while, and I'm so glad that people are seeing it now. I'm a huge comic book fan, by the way, if you didn't know that. Obsessive. So, getting to see these movies come to life over these years now has been just, such a joy. But I digress. The Witch's Road. It can be legit. If you want it to be legitimized in your practice, then it is. It doesn't have to be outwardly validated by someone else for it to be real and a powerful cathartic experience for you. Um, Pop culture magic, pop culture paganism, that's a whole sect in itself that we could make a video on, that I have made videos about. But I digress. Rambling over, The Witch's Road can be a beautiful addition to your modern witchy practice. And you should try it. It's great. Goodbye.